We usually think of trust as, well, just a feeling, right? Something soft. But what if it's not? What if it's one of the most powerful economic tools you can have? A skill you can actually learn and master. That's exactly what we're diving into today, using the key ideas from Stephen M. R. Plovey's Smart Trust.
This quote from Frank Green, man, it just nails the problem, doesn't it? It's this razor's edge we all have to walk. If you trust too much, you're going to get burned. It's almost inevitable. But if you don't trust enough, well, you end up living in this lonely, paranoid world. It's just torment. So where's the sweet spot? How do we find that balance?
Okay, so to really get what this looks like in the real world, let's jump in a time machine. We're going back to 1974. Bangladesh is in the middle of a devastating famine. And there's this economist, Muhammad Yunus, who's watching people, brilliant craftspeople, trapped in this soul-crushing cycle of poverty, all because they couldn't get a tiny loan to buy something as simple as bamboo to make a stool. And this is the part that will absolutely blow your mind. Yunus does the math. For 42 families, 42 entire families, to break free from loan sharks and start their own tiny businesses, the total amount of money they needed was $27. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. $27. That's less than a dinner out for two. And it was the only thing standing between them and a real life.
So Eunice thinks, okay, this is an easy fix. He walks into the local bank, all optimistic, but he just slams right into this brick wall of total distrust. The bank manager basically laughs in his face, tells him he's crazy. Poor people aren't creditworthy, he says. They're too much of a risk. The entire system, you see, was designed to say no.
But Yunus, he just wasn't having it. He refused to accept that reality. So he thought, all right, if the system's broken, I'll just build a new one. He actually loaned them that first $27 out of his own pocket. And from that one single act, he started the Grameen Bank. And it was built on an idea that, to the entire banking world, was completely insane. It was built on trust.
So what happened? All those supposedly uncreditworthy people, all that so-called risk, they had a 98% loan payback rate. 98%. That is unreal. It's actually higher than what most big, fancy banks get from their borrowers. And right there, Yunus proved it. The risk was never the people. The risk was the system that refused to trust them. All right, so that story really sets the stage for our first big idea here, the incredibly high cost of living and working in a world of distrust. You know, Warren Buffett has this perfect way of putting it. He says trust is like the air we breathe. When it's all around us, you don't even think about it. It's just normal. But the second it's gone, everybody notices. Suddenly, you can't breathe. Everything becomes harder, slower, and way, way more expensive. And this is where we get a really powerful little formula. Think of it like this. When trust goes down, speed also goes down, and costs go up. It's like a hidden tax on every single thing you do, a trust tax. All this extra meetings, the bureaucratic red tape, the just covering my back emails, that's the tax in action. It's a massive drag on everything. And hey, this isn't just some feel-good idea. It has a massive impact on the bottom line. Check this out. A huge study found that companies with high trust cultures had a total shareholder return that was almost 300% higher than low-trust companies. That's not a small difference. That is a gigantic competitive advantage, and it's all powered by trust. But here's the good news. The opposite is also true. When trust goes up, speed also goes up, and costs go down. This is what we call the trust dividend. It's like a performance multiplier. Suddenly, conversations are easier, collaboration just clicks, and you're not afraid to take smart risks. Everything just flows. It makes work not just more efficient, but honestly, a lot more enjoyable. Okay, so we've seen the problem, this high cost of distrust. So what's the answer? Well, that brings us to the Smart Trust solution. So most of us, we tend to fall into one of two traps, right? On one side, you have blind trust. You're just too gullible, you assume the best of everyone, and you get taken advantage of. On the other side, you have total distrust. You're suspicious of everyone, you protect yourself, but you also shut down any chance for real connection or opportunity. Neither of these extremes really work. And this is where we find a third, much better option: Smart Trust. The big idea here is that trust isn't just a blind feeling. It's a judgment. It's about taking your natural inclination to trust, that's the heart, and combining it with smart, clear-eyed analysis, that's the head. It's about being smart, not cynical. This little matrix is the perfect way to visualize it. Look, if you're high on the propensity to trust axis, but low on the analysis axis, you're in the blind trust zone. That's just being gullible. Now flip that. If you're low on trust, but you do a ton of analysis, you're stuck in the distrust zone. You're always suspicious, always second-guessing. The sweet spot, the place we all want to operate from, is that top right quadrant, zone 2. This is where you have a high willingness to trust, and you do your homework with high analysis. That is smart trust. It's the zone of good judgment. You protect yourself from the downside while opening yourself up to all the incredible upside. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do we actually do this? Let's get practical and talk about putting trust into action. It's actually a pretty simple two-step process. And the first step is absolutely crucial. You have to start with yourself. Because let's be honest, you can't inspire trust in other people if you aren't trustworthy yourself, right? Once you've got that sorted, then, and only then, can you move on to step 2, extending trust to other people wisely. So, step 1 is all about building your own credibility. It's the foundation for everything else. And your credibility really boils down to 2 key things. First is your character. This means your integrity. Do you walk the talk? And your intent. Are you in it for mutual benefit? And the second part is your competence. This is about your capabilities. Do you have the skills? And your results. Do you have a track record of actually delivering? All right, so once you're confident in your own trustworthiness, moving to step 2 requires a shift in your mindset. You have to start from a default belief. Meg Whitman, the former CEO of eBay, said it perfectly. The only reason eBay worked, a platform where strangers send money to other strangers, is because they started from the belief that people are, at their core, basically good. You have to believe that to even begin. And for a killer example of extending trust wisely, look no further than Zappos. They built a billion-dollar empire on this idea. They extend smart trust to their employees, no rigid call scripts, just the freedom to make customers happy. And they extend incredible trust to their customers, that famous 365-day return policy with free shipping both ways. Now, that's not blind faith. It's a calculated, smart bet that created an army of fiercely loyal fans. So this brings us to the final and maybe the most important idea today, your own personal legacy of trust. Think back to Muhammad Yunus and that tiny $27 loan. The choice to extend trust, even in a small way, can have these massive ripple effects you could never predict. It can change the dynamic of your team, your family, your entire community. And it really echoes what Margaret Mead said. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Choosing to trust is one of those world-changing acts. So in the end, learning how to use smart trust is one of the most powerful skills you can possibly develop. It's a leadership tool whether you're leading a company or just leading your own life. So I want to leave you with a challenge, a question to really think about. Who in your world, right now, needs you to be the one to extend trust first?